Oftentimes, we want to become the one without putting the work into ourselves. Oftentimes, our thoughts are so powerful, we're not taking the action on what we're thinking. But see, oftentimes, we're so limited on what we believe, we can't become what we think. Because oftentimes, the work has to be done behind the scenes. But how do you be consistent with the process when the process is so overwhelming? See, oftentimes, what's happening is that the best comes out of you when you are the best that's in you. Come on now. It happens to be the one. In order to be the one, we have to understand who the one is. Who is the one? Anybody can be the one, but if you don't know who you are, everybody will seem like the one. They're the one to you. But see, oftentimes, how do we put ourselves in correct positions and to even be able to be ready to accept what's presented to us? But see, what's happening is that life is presenting to you in the time that you least expect it. In order to be the one, what do you have to do? You have to really put work into yourself. You really have to understand who you are as a person. You really have to just learn and be willing to grow into the person that you are today. But see, what's happening, what's so afraid, what's so difficult, what's so hard is that we don't want to put that work in within ourselves. We don't want to put that work in because just because we have a thought, that thought is supposed to come to life. We don't want to put the work, the effort, the time, the sacrifices, the dedication. We don't want to put nothing in because it's too difficult. It's too overwhelming. It's too much to handle. But in order to be the one, we have to learn who the one is. Who is the one? The one is who you are becoming. Nobody can tell you who you are unless you learn and really identify who you are as a person. What's going on, everybody? My name is Terryl with the Humphrey, and welcome to another episode, Life Talk of Failure is Knowledge. See, here in Failure is Knowledge, we're talking about growth and really how to embrace your journey, how to grow into a new version of yourself. You can't grow if you can't heal, but you can't heal if you can't think. We all have the power to think and to change our current situations, but are we? That's what this talk is going to be about. In order to become the one, we have to be willing to do things that everybody else would not want to do. Why? Because change is hard. Developing is difficult. But the best thing that you can do is to put yourself first. But see, in order to be the one, you have to be okay with coming first before anybody else. Why? Because oftentimes we're so kind. We want to give our effort to everybody else before we give our effort to ourselves. And what's happening is that we don't think that is a problem unless our effort is getting taken advantage of. But it's only getting taken advantage of because we're letting it. But see, oftentimes when we let it, we're the ones to blame from it. See, becoming the one is actually learning how to set boundaries for yourself. Because if you don't set no boundaries, why should the next person even care about setting boundaries? But when we put ourselves in different situations, that's when we start to wonder, when did this happen? If you haven't subscribed yet, I'm getting deep. I forgot to say this earlier. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like, and make sure you really listen to this message on how you can become the one for yourself. But see, you can't. What I've learned is that in life, in order for a relationship to work, you have to identify who you are. My relationship didn't work because I didn't know who I am. But now, as I'm growing and learning and becoming a new version of myself, I'm able to attract people in my life that can not only bring value to me, but I can bring value to them. But see, what's so special is that I started working on myself. I stopped blaming what has happened to me and start understanding it was for me. But why was it for me? To where, what does that even mean? Why was it for you? It means oftentimes as we're going through hard situations and hard times, it's meant to build us up into the best version of ourselves. I remember when I started really working out heavy, it was sometime this year. I wasn't as heavy in the gym, but I was just staying in shape. I was staying in shape, right? But what I didn't realize is that once I got lazy and stopped working out, the effort that I put in a couple of years ago when I was playing high school football, I had to start all over. Because I had to start over, I had to start with a new beginning. But see, oftentimes your new beginning is your best start because now you don't have old habits to break. But see, how do you become the one? You have to recognize the habits that you have. I had to recognize the habits that I have. I was comfortable. I wasn't working on myself. I wasn't developing to the person, to the man that I am today. Why am I saying this? Because oftentimes when you do things that are comfortable every single day, you become, your journey just it becomes smooth sailing, right? There's no bumps, there's no curves. It's just a straight narrow road, and it's a straight narrow road because we haven't made a turn to change our lives. And I'm saying this because you can make a decision to change whenever you put your mind to it. In order to become the one, you have to know who the one is. Who's the one? The one is yourself. I can't attract the people that I want in my life if I'm not working on myself. I can't attract the love of my life if I'm not working on myself. But I've learned when I work on myself, that's when things start to happen in a different way. And by things, I'm actually talking about when people come into your life, when success is built, when you are growing and nourishing yourself. But what's so special is that anybody can do it. But are you willing to put the effort into yourself to become the one? But see, and it's so scary because how do you become the one? How you believe you can become the one if you haven't been showed how to do this? If it hasn't been explained, if you don't have nobody to look up to, be like, I really want to be like them. I really want to be like them because I understand that what they had to go through. The lessons that they telling me, the lessons that they telling me is from experience. But how do you gain experience if you're not becoming the one to understand what is being taught to you? But see, that's why it's so important to you understand it is okay to recognize where you are at today. I had to recognize where I was at. I wasn't in shape. I was just lazy. I stopped going to the gym because I didn't like the gym. I didn't understand the gym. It's not that I didn't like working out. I just didn't understand me putting the time and effort into it to remain healthy. I wasn't becoming the one because I got comfortable. You see where I'm going with that? There's a process behind the journey. Are you willing to put effort into yourself to become the one? But how do you become the one? I had to start taking daily steps, daily actions, daily activities. I remember I was running 3 miles because in the Marine Corps you had to run 3 miles. I remember my very, very first time running. It wasn't even 3 miles. It was 1.5 miles. I was dying. And when I tell you I was dying, I didn't even train for it. It wasn't like I couldn't stop. I couldn't because everybody else was running. But I definitely slowed down. You feel me? I definitely slowed down because my body wasn't ready for that. My body, my mind, my preparation wasn't ready for something that was right there in front of me. That 1.5 miles was a lot to me because I wasn't training for it. And as I wasn't training for it, I wasn't the one that can run it. But as we continue to do it, as we continue to train and to work out in that way, when I first got in the military, I was in shape because we was working out every day. Excuse me, if you haven't been to the military, the boot camp would get you, the military boot camp will get you situated because now you have to really change your environment. You really have to change your old ways. You really have to change what you used to in order to adapt to your current environment. That's what happened to me. I had to adapt to my current environment when I wasn't even comfortable in it. And I wasn't comfortable because imagine this. You're sleeping at 4 o'clock in the morning. All of a sudden you hear lights. You hear people yelling, people running, people screaming. Why are y'all doing this early in the morning? I wasn't used to that. My first week, I wasn't used to that. It really drove me crazy how for the rest of the time, it drove me crazy. However, the first time, me hearing something different drove me really crazy because how do you handle something when it's unknown to you? You have to keep doing it every day. It wasn't like I could go back home. I mean, granted, I could just stop. I could have quit boot camp, but I was already gone. I already went through the process. I already took the test. I already went to the medical department for the screening. I went there. I went to what else I do? The pulley, the interviews, like the whole process was a lot. And then I left home. I left Little Rock, Arkansas to California. Was it California? Yeah, to California. So then I'm like, something's gonna come from this. But as it's coming to me, I don't know how to accept it because I don't know what it is. But then as I continue to learn, it taught me that hard times is going to teach you a lesson. But as it's teaching you the lesson, you're going to miss it because you're not ready to accept it. You're not ready to understand it. Even if I was prepared to even go, I wouldn't be prepared to listen. See, there's a timing with everything. We learn things as we are going on in life and growing in life. But as we're growing in life, your learning never stops. You become the one never stops. But it only stops when you don't give effort into yourself. See, the Marine Corps, the military really taught me that if you don't understand who you are going to be so confused trying to find out what you want to do. But it taught me just because I didn't know the answers, I didn't have the answers today, doesn't mean it wasn't going to come to me. I became the one within myself to understand the risk I'm taking today, the sacrifices that's here today, is here to help me grow. The pain is here to help me learn. But I can't learn if I'm so comfortable. I can't grow if I haven't done things that makes me uncomfortable. But in order to become the one, you have to do things that makes you uncomfortable in order to understand it is okay to feel some type of way. But feeling some type of way just means that you're unexperienced. But since you're unexperienced, it's not the end of the world, because you can always learn what you need to learn in order to become the person that you want to be. The reason why we are not the one that we think that we are, because we are not really working. We think we're doing a lot. We think we're busy. We think we think we understand what's going on, what's being presented. But are we really? Are we really? In all honesty, I wasn't. It took me time to learn how to actually be comfortable with the gym, be comfortable with the military. Not even comfortable, but just accept it. Just accept what is already happening. What's already happening. Just accept it. I had to learn that just because you're dealing with something doesn't mean you're the only one going through it. I'm like, oh, that's a lesson right there. That's a lesson right there. But when it got taught to me, when it got presented to me, I wasn't ready to understand it. I understood that when I got out the military, because I was so in my head, so focused on transitioning out the military, out the Marine Corps. I had to learn how to just be with myself. Just do things that I love to do. Just figure it out. But it was hard for me to figure it out when I couldn't push through the urge of not knowing. But you not knowing is the best thing, because the lesson that you hear today is going to be presented at a different time than you least expect it. If you're watching this video so far and it's really touching home, it's really touching base, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to my channel and leave a like. And drop a comment thus far on how impactful becoming the one means to you. But here's the thing about becoming the one. You have to choose to be who you want to become. You have to choose to be who you want to become. Who do you want to become? Somebody better than yesterday. Someone better than yesterday. But even then, the best has yet to come, because we haven't started today. I heard this quote and it said, the best time to start is today. The best time to start is today. But what does that even mean? What does that even mean when it's presented? Most of the times we want to push things away, push tasks to a different day in order not to do it today, because we think it's a lot. We think it's overwhelming. We think we can't do it. But if you really think about why you're doing something at the level of time that you're doing it, you're becoming better. When I started back working out, I had to learn consistency again. But see, this time, my old habits that I had was already broken, because I already stopped going to the gym. So now, when I'm training and I'm growing and I'm building myself back up, I'm becoming the person that can handle the 3 miles, because I understand the small work, the big work is done behind the scenes. It's not done as I'm running the 3 miles. It's done before I even get there. It's done before I even step foot to even run the 3 miles. Oftentimes we have to prepare for things that are not in front of us, even though we understand how bad it's going to be, how tough it's going to be, how difficult it's going to be, how overwhelming it's going to be. But see, your preparation is coming from you taking action today. But in order for you to become the one, what do you need to do? Start today. I had to learn that me starting was so grateful that I learned so much. I can't unlearn what I've already learned. Correction. I can't unlearn what I already learned. I already did. But in order to relearn information, I have to be able to understand what information is getting presented to me. But even then, even if I don't understand the new information, there's always time if I'm willing to put myself out there. So to become the one, you have to understand who the one is. I had to learn that I'm the one, but who am I? I had to learn who am I and who am I trying to become? If I want a happy relationship, who do I need to become? If I want to be successful, who do I need to become? If I want a successful, happy life, who do I need to become? But see, when we dive in and ask these questions to ourselves, the answer, the universe, God is presenting the answer when you least expect it. Because it's going to make sense on a different task, on a different part of your journey, because now you understand why it's even here. Like, oh, I went through my divorce to be ready for my next relationship. Oh, I got out the military to be ready to walk in my purpose. Oh, I got ready. I moved back to Arkansas to be prepared for the next thing that's coming in my life. But how do you become the one if the one is not working on themselves? I'm not afraid to change. I'm not afraid to grow. I'm not afraid to learn. I'm not afraid to sound like I don't know what I'm talking about. Why? Because when I don't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to get corrected on the spot. I wasn't afraid to get corrected on the spot because as I got corrected on the spot, I've learned what it was. I remember I was at this event. It was like a relationship event type of thing. And it was like a conversation, relationship type conversation. So as we were speaking, I had raised my hand and I said something incorrectly. The question that I said, so the question on hand was like, the husband had cheated on the wife for like 20 plus years. And then I'm like, I had a question. I'm like, why did you stay with him if you knew he was cheating? Then that was the first question. I was like, because men don't know how to communicate. Automatically right there. Now imagine, right? The room is 70% of women. 70%, so it was maybe 25 people, so 17 was women. When I said that, 7 women wanted to say something or had an opinion, which was great feedback. But they corrected me right on the spot because I said something incorrectly. But what I've learned is that when you say things wrong at the wrong time, people are going to hear it and really help you form your question better. And so this one woman was like, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is what you meant to say, right? I said, yeah. I can't remember exactly what she said because she said it very well. She articulated that very well. I can't remember what she said, but it's the way she led on to the question, led on to her response while she was understanding what I meant to say. She was like, correct me if I'm wrong, but is this what you meant to say? And then she got to saying, I'm like, yes, that is exactly what I meant to say, but I didn't have the questions or the experience to understand this is how you ask this at this time. Was I afraid to say the wrong thing? Absolutely not. Why? Because I got help on the spot. I got help on the spot, but as I'm getting help on the spot, it made me understand it is okay not to know everything, because when you don't know nothing, people are there to help you learn everything. But it's a process itself. Are you prepared to look crazy to get the answer that you're looking for? I was prepared to look crazy because I didn't even know I was saying the wrong thing to begin with. But they corrected me. They gave me help and they gave me guidance. See, that's what happened. In order to become the one, you have to be okay with being embarrassed. You have to be okay with sounding not so intelligent. You have to be okay with opening your mouth and asking the question. The best thing that you can ever do is learn how to ask a question. Why? Because this is where you're becoming the person that you want to become. Because as you're speaking to the person that you're communicating with, their experience is a lot different from yours. But how do you get the answers that you're looking for? Your answer, your question determines how the answer is going to come out. Your question determines how the answer is going to come out. So what do you really want to know? The small questions are not going to give you the answer that you're looking for, because when it's small, it's not helping you like you think it's going to help you. I've learned to ask great questions, just to have great conversations, just become very open to learn other people's stories. Because other people's stories have a lot of experience, and I can learn from them and really grow to become the one. I'm not going through another divorce. I'm not getting another breakup. I'm not going through that again. Because I understood the first time. I don't need, okay. I don't need multiple times to learn something when it hurts so bad. I don't need it. No. I don't need that. I'm not going through a divorce again, because I know this time I had to really become the one to accept what a relationship was. Not just a relationship, but to be prepared for this other person. But as I'm preparing for this other person, for the love of my life, there's a journey and a process that has to go with it. But am I ready to become the one in order to receive what the love of my life has to bring? That's the journey itself. The journey itself is going to show you why it's so important to even know and learn how to become the one. If you don't become the one, why should anybody see your potential in yourself if you don't see your potential within you? I knew hard times was going to pass. But just like hard times pass, good times pass over as well. So it's really double-sided. You can't have good with the bad, because if you really think about it, there's two intentions with it. You got to have the good to learn from the bad, but you also have to have the bad to understand the good. See, we don't understand that. We think there's something bad is happening to us, and we really instantly get in our feelings. We don't think like, what is this teaching us, and how can I gain more from this? That's what's so special about the journey, because it teaches you patience and how to really know yourself, how to really love yourself, how to really just be patient with who you are as a person. But see, anybody can do it, but does everybody put the effort into themselves? Anybody can do it, but does everybody put the effort and time into themselves in order to become the one? If the answer is no, how can you become the one for yourself in order to change and grow into the person that you want to become? Time, effort, consistency, and making a decision. That's how you become that. That's how you become that person. Because now you understand why it's so important to even put yourself out there. But becoming the one is becoming the person that you want to walk into. Because now as you're walking into this person, your purpose is present every single day. Becoming the one is not easy. Success is not easy. But also being comfortable is not easy as well. And being comfortable is not easy as well, because you really have to tell yourself, I don't want to do nothing. I don't want to do nothing. I just feel like just doing nothing. You really have to be comfortable with that. If you are, cool. If you're not, how can you change? If you got value from this, please make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, make sure you leave a comment on how you are becoming the one for yourself. Leave a comment down below, and make sure you click this video right here to watch another video about life growth and personal growth, and how you are on the right path to your journey.